Hi, I'm Kelly with citruscycles.ca. This is the Riese Muller Tinker, and I'm doing this video overview inside because I wanted to give you an idea of how compact this bike is. If you're looking to store a bike inside at your home or in your office, maybe you need to put your bike in a car or in a boat, then this is a fantastic bike for that. It's a nice compact bike, but despite its small size, it's super fun to ride, very easy to operate, and it adjusts to accommodate a wide range of heights. So if you're a family that's sharing an e-bike, this is ideal because it can be adjusted to fit almost everyone. So it does only come in the one size, but I'll show you in a few minutes how much this can be adjusted because it really does fit all sizes. But it does come in three colors. This is solar orange metallic. It looks a little yellow in this video, but if you come check it out, you'll see it's a really nice bright orange color. They also have a blue metallic, and if you want to be boring or inconspicuous, then there's a black matte as well. But I love this orange. It's nice and bright. It makes me very visible when I'm riding, and that's something that I really like. So I'm going to start by showing you some of the innovative features that make it easy to fit everyone. Then I'll show you the very cool belt and hub drive, which really makes this a very special bike, so that you don't have to worry about getting grease on your clothes, or like I said, if you're storing it inside or in your boat or in your car, it's ideal for that because you don't have a greasy chain. You don't have to worry about oil getting everywhere. I'll talk a little bit about the Bosch mid-drive, and Riese Muller's gone with the top-end Performance Line CX, which is a great feature to have on the bike, and lets you conquer any hills and ride longer distances and not worry about getting to work or wherever you're going all sweaty and tired. You'll get there and you'll have had a good time on your way there. Then I'll go over some of the other features and specs of the bike, and I won't be able to do a ride video today because, well, it's snowing outside a lot. But I did ride this bike a couple days ago when it arrived from Germany. It's a lot of fun. It's fantastic. And once the snow melts, I'll take it for another ride. I'll do a video. So if you go to our website, citruscycles.ca, you'll be able to check that out. Speaking of our website and trying the bike, I definitely recommend trying this bike. It's hard to explain how much fun it is. It's very agile, very responsive, very stable, very comfortable, very smooth. There's just so many adjectives I can use to describe it, but really it would be better for you to come and try it out yourself if you can. So if you are anywhere on Vancouver Island, you can set up an appointment to come try it here in Ladysmith. Otherwise, we will bring it to you anywhere on Vancouver Island or the Lower Mainland. We've got a mobile service, so just head over to our website at citruscycles.ca or give me a call at 1-888-342-0102, and I'd be happy to bring it and any of the other e-bikes we carry so you can try it out. If you're elsewhere in Canada and you'd like us to ship one to you, it's not a problem, free shipping. And the nice thing about the Riese Muller bikes is they are assembled by hand in Germany. The quality control is amazing, and so when we get these from the factory, they're all set up. So if we were to ship this to you, everything is installed except for the pedals. You'd put those on and twist the handlebars around and check out the air in the tires, and you're good to go. So very easy assembly, and the quality is really top-notch. So let me start with the really cool adjustment features on this bike. So for example, the height of the handlebars here is very easy to adjust. We've got a quick release clamp like you'd find on a seat post right here. Open that up, and then you'll notice there's a little button that you push in here, and this is going to be perhaps difficult to do with one hand, but I'll do my best here. You push that button in, and then you can actually pull the handlebars up quite a bit. So I'm just going to set the camera down here for a moment and lift that up for you so you can see how that looks. There we go. So just push in and then pull up. And a little tip for you, if you twist it so that the little button isn't hitting each of these knobs until you want it in, then you can get it all the way up to the very top if you wish, and then you just twist it around until you get your knob in the hole. Oops, there we go. Pops in, and now, get the camera back here, you can see that this extends basically can go all the way down to here and all the way up here. So it's really, now that you look at the bike now, that's quite high, much higher than I would have on any of the other bikes. So if you're a really tall person, you can make that really high. And then of course we can drop that down just by pushing the button in there again and sliding it down. And then we'd want to tighten up the quick release. So I'll just quickly pop that down for you. So push that in, push it down, and we can go as low as there. And then clamp the quick release shut here, and really easy way to adjust the height of your handlebars. So that's a great adjustment feature. You can also adjust the reach, and that's really neat. And again, one thing I should point out is that this is super stable. Even though it's adjustable, the mechanism they've used on this really tightens it up. So if I really, try to jiggle or shake this, put all my weight on it, it doesn't move at all. There's no flex. Sometimes you'll find with an adjustable stem where you can adjust the angle or the height, things can get a little bit wiggly at times. This is rock solid. And part of that is the really, the mechanism they've used to adjust it is really very durable, very strong. So we've got 2 levers here. Lift those levers up to adjust the angle. And now you can see we've got the same idea. We've got a little slider here, and that's going to move that pin out of the way. And when I do that, I can actually fold the handlebars all the way down if I want. You can see there if I'm needing to transport it, or if I just slide it up slowly, it'll catch one of these holes here. There we go. Whoops. And you can see now that I've adjusted the angle, or the reach is much closer to the seat here. If I need it further away because I've got longer arms, then I just pull back this little lever here, push forward, and again it's a little bit easier to do with 2 hands, but that's okay. And you can see now I've got it at what would probably be a standard distance, standard reach. If you have really long arms, then just slide this again, and look at that, I'm managing to do it with 1 hand. So certainly with 2, it's very easy. And now you can see that you've got a really long reach there. So if you're a really tall person, long arms, you can make this bike fit you. And of course, once you're done adjusting it, you just push these 2 levers back down. And now, there we go, it's really very solid. I could put all my weight on these bars and they don't move at all. So it's very easy to use, but also very stable, very secure, and allows you to adjust multiple heights to fit different body sizes. And of course you've got a quick release on the seat post here. This Tinker comes with the optional Thudbuster suspension seat post. You can of course choose a regular seat post if you prefer. That'll let you get the seat post even lower. You can always cut the seat post as well if you need it to go right down to the bottom here. And then with the suspension piece here, that also raises the seat post. So with a regular seat post, you're going to be able to go very low, or you can also bring this up really quite high. I like the Thudbuster on here. It really smooths out the ride, which is a nice feature to have. And they include 2 other elastometers. So depending on your weight, you can actually loosen this bolt and this bolt, pop this out, put a thinner one or a thicker one in, and that will adjust the amount of suspension, kind of like adding air to a suspension fork. So as you can see, it adjusts very easily. It's not a folding bike, but given how compact it is, you can often make use of it in situations where you'd want a folding bike, such as bringing it inside or putting it in your car, putting it in your boat, that sort of thing. Part of the reason why it's so compact is we've got these 20-inch tires here. These are actually the Schwalbe Big Ben Plus. So they're like a balloon tire, and that kind of 2 inches of tire really smooths out the ride, which is a nice thing to have if you're using this as a city bike or going on some light trails that may have some potholes and things like that. Between these balloon tires and the Suntour suspension fork on the front here. Actually, sorry, this isn't a Suntour fork. with the suspension fork here and the adjustable preload, you're actually going to be able to get quite a nice smooth ride. While I'm showing you the fork here, it's interesting that Riese Muller really pays attention to all the details. And that's kind of something you'd expect from a bike that is assembled by hand in Germany. We see all the wiring is run through the frame here on the fork. This isn't something you see here in Canada very often, but they've actually put reflectors right on both sides of the fork, which is really handy. And you can see we've got the built-in fenders, which is fantastic for kind of a city commuting type of bike. You can be able to ride all year, all seasons, and not have to worry about getting dirty or wet. We've got the rear fender as well. Going back to the tires and talking about, you know, the reflectors, we've got a reflector on the rear here. I'll talk about the lights in a few moments. These have a reflective strip. So from a side view, if you're riding at night and the car shines its lights on you, that sidewall reflector is really going to be very bright, so that's a nice feature. The other nice thing about these tires, besides being really comfortable, being the balloon tires, is they do have the Performance Line Green Guard and Snake Skin sidewalls. So that offers a lot of puncture resistance and protection against getting flat tires. So that's a nice upgrade on those tires as well. Let me talk about one of my favorite features about the bike before I show you some of the other kind of standard features, and I'll talk about the Bosch drive system in a moment as well. But what really makes me excited about this bike, besides its, you know, compact size, easy to adjust to different body sizes and that sort of thing, as you can see, we're not using a chain on this bike. This is actually a Gates belt. And the advantage of a belt, besides it being very quiet, is that you don't have to worry about grease or oil, keeping your chain clean. If you ride all year like I do, and you end up in some mud or rain, when you get back, you need to keep your chain clean and oiled, otherwise it'll rust. With a belt like this, there's no maintenance. There's nothing. You ride in the rain, you come home, you're done. You don't have to worry about cleaning your bike. You need to bring your bike inside, you need to put it in your car, you need to put it in your boat, you have an airplane or something like that. You're not having to worry about getting grease everywhere because the chain is nice and clean. So aside from being quiet and maintenance free, it's nice that it's very clean as well. And a belt generally lasts a lot longer than a chain, so you're not having to worry about replacing it or adjusting it. And while I'm talking about the belt, I'll just point out one of the cool things that Riese Muller has done here. You can see that they've got a couple of adjustment points here to be able to adjust the tension on the chain, or on the belt, sorry. You'll also notice that they've used an elevated chainstay. In other words, if you look at most bikes, look at the bike you have, you'll notice that the chain or the belt, half of it goes above the chainstay and half runs below. And that's why sometimes if you're going over bumps and that sort of thing, you'll often hear your chain slapping on the chainstay. You'll see some chips and dirt and stuff like that from that hitting on there. The reason why they've went with an elevated chainstay is because with a belt, you can't break the belt like you can with a chain. To install a chain, you take it apart, put it on, and close it back up with a link. With a belt, obviously, you can't do that. So on some frames, what they'll do if they're using a belt is they'll actually put a break point that you break apart the frame, put the belt in, reattach the frame. That is a bit of a compromise because now you're really weakening the frame. What Riese Muller's done is they've actually designed this so the chain stay is above the belt, so you can actually remove the wheel, remove the chain, remove the belt, put it back on, do any adjustments you need back here. So it's brilliant, and this is really, again, there's some things that I can tell you about and some things you just have to try. This is a really very stable, well-built bike. It doesn't flex at all. They've really, you know, if you look at the rack here that they've built in, it's really very strong and durable, and the frame as well, it's just well put together. So we've got the advantage of the belt, which I love, and on here you see we actually have the NuVinci 380 continuously variable hub. This replaces your derailleur. So on a regular bike, you have a derailleur with cogs that the chain jumps up and down, and then you have on the cassette, and then you've got a derailleur down here. And you really have to be careful because, especially on a compact bike like this, if you're bringing it inside or it tips over, you're putting it in your car, and the derailleur gets banged, things get out of alignment. You have to get that fixed. You may have to replace your derailleur. Things aren't shifting correctly. You've got to keep it clean. And over time, every few thousand kilometers, as little as 1,000 kilometers, you'll have to replace the cassette and the chain, and all of that adds up. Just as importantly, with the big difference, besides the maintenance aspect of a hub, because with a hub, there's none of that. The hub, if your bike falls over, nothing's going to go out of alignment. There's no maintenance, there's nothing to clean, there's nothing, you don't have to change this. This is basically going to last forever. But the other real advantage from riding a bike with a hub is the way that you choose the gears. There aren't any gears. This is actually continuously variable. So on a regular bike, you kind of have those steps where you change gears and there's a clunk, and now you pedal a little bit differently. With this NuVinci 380, it is continuously variable, like the transmission in a car. So basically, you just twist this, and that automatically adjusts the gearing, for lack of a better word, because it's not really geared. It adjusts the resistance. So if you're going up a hill, you twist this, and you see on the little icon here, you can see he's going up a hill, the bike's going up a hill. So the pedaling is going to be really easy. And as I get towards a more flat section, I just twist this, and you can see the little icon here. Now it's going flatter, and so now that's going to be harder to pedal. The great thing about a hub, apart from being really easy to use, this is so intuitive. You don't have to remember which paddle do I press, and if you press the wrong one and you're changing to the wrong gear, and now it gets really hard to pedal. This is really easy to remember how to use. The other great thing about the continuously variable hub is you can actually shift while the bike is stopped. So if you do a lot of city riding and you come up to an intersection, you may or may not have to stop. On a regular bike with a derailleur, I would be shifting just in case, and then I didn't have to stop, and then I'd have to shift again. With this, you don't have to shift. You can ride, oh, you have to stop, no problem, stop, get off the bike if you need to, and then when you want to start riding again, you just twist this and go, yeah, I need it a little bit easier because I had to stop. Just like that. So you can actually shift at a standstill, which is a fantastic feature. So you don't have to worry about being in the right gear. It's very easy to change. You can change it at any time. And it's really the type of thing that you need to ride to appreciate. Once you start riding a bike like this, it becomes so much easier. It's so smooth. It's just carefree. You don't have to worry about being in the wrong gear. It's really easy to work with. So I highly recommend going with a hub like this if you ride somewhere where you're going to be starting and stopping a lot, or if you just don't want to have to worry about maintenance. Speaking of starting and stopping, we do have the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes up here on the front, and I always look to make sure that if you're riding an e-bike, you want to have hydraulic disc brakes with fairly decent sized rotors on them, like you can see here. I'm always worried if you're riding a bike with mechanical disc brakes, will you be able to stop? Because you can get on an e-bike much faster speeds than you would find on a regular bike, and it's also a little bit heavier because you've got the battery and the motor. So you want to make sure you have that stopping power behind you. So the brakes on this bike are very good. While I'm up here at the front, I'll point out the integrated lights, and I'll talk about the Bosch system that they run off of. And that's one of the great features that I like about the Bosch system, is being able to run the lights off of the main battery. So you see I can turn on the Intuvia display here. I'll press the light button, it says lights on, and there's a little indicator there that my lights are on. Now you can see we've got a nice bright front light here that's built in, and also under the rack we've got a rear light. As I mentioned, the lights are running off of your power pack here, and the nice thing about that is now I don't have to worry about bringing my lights in and charging them. Sometimes I forget to do that and I go out to go for a ride and my lights are dead, so I have to find new batteries or charge them. The other thing that I like about having the lights built in is I don't have to worry about remembering to bring them or remembering to take them off if I'm parking my bike somewhere. They're built in, so they're not going to go anywhere. I'm not worried about the security of them. So that's another nice feature. Now if you're thinking to yourself, okay, how about, if it's running off the main battery, do I need to worry about running out of power on the main battery? Well, Riese Muller is using the PowerPack 500 on their bikes here in Canada, which is awesome. It gives you 25% more range than you'd find on the 400 watt-hour, which a lot of bikes are still using. The other neat thing about Riese Muller and their battery choice is that you can see there's actually no stickers or labels on this. None of their bikes do that. A lot of the bikes we sell have stickers to kind of make it look really cool with the rest of the bike, and that's great. But the nice thing about this is if you get a spare battery, it's not going to mess up the design of your bike because they all look the same. And it's easy to get any Bosch spare battery. They're not specific to Riese Muller; they're just a standard Bosch battery. So that's a nice feature I like. And really, if you look at the design of this bike and all of their bikes, it's very the color scheme's very simple. They don't need to put the stickers on. It's a very classic look. They're very attractive, nice-looking bikes. So speaking of battery range, one of the great things about the NuVinci system is not only do we see the battery indicator up here showing you how much light you have, or how much power you have left, but we've got a trip computer down here, and you can cycle through it using the I button, or on the remote here as well, there's an I button as well. And so we see our trip distance, clock, maximum speed, average speed, the trip time, and one of my favorite features is the range. So right now I've got the assistance level to off, so of course I can go as far as I want. And one thing I should mention, this is an awesome bike to ride even without assistance. That gate belt makes it so quiet and the hub makes it so easy. It's just a really fun bike to ride. So to adjust my level of assist, I've got the plus or minus buttons here. I'm just going to press the plus. And you can see now it's moved up to Eco, and it's saying I have a range of about 133 kilometers based on the last few kilometers I've gone and how much battery I have left. And if I move up to the Tour level, which is what most people ride on, I've got 68 kilometers. If I want even more assistance, I can go to Sport or all the way up to Turbo, and you can see it drops the range accordingly. But most people will ride on Tour, or if you're going a really long distance and don't mind pedaling more, you can go on Eco and get quite the range out of it. So that trip calculator, the range estimator, is really useful. You're not having to worry about running out of battery. And if your commute is longer than 67 kilometers of the trip you're planning on taking, you could always bring your charger and top that up as well. And you can charge the battery while it's on the bike. There's a charging port right here. You open up the flap and you plug that in. Or you can use the key to remove the battery from the frame and bring it inside to charge it. Speaking of keys, we have an ABUS frame lock on here, or what's sometimes called a cafe lock. And this is really cool. Basically what you can do is slide this bar, or slide this knob here. And again, it's kind of hard with one hand because I need to turn the key. There we go. And you can see there's a bar coming through there that's going to lock to the other side. And basically, and I'll let it go, there you go. What that does is that locks your wheel from turning, so somebody can't ride off with your bike. Now, of course, they could pick it up and walk off with it. So that's why it's kind of called a cafe lock. If you're somewhere where you can keep your eye on your bike and you don't want it riding off by itself, then you can use that. If you are leaving your bike somewhere, then you're going to want to also bring maybe a folding lock or a U-lock or something like that so that you can secure the front wheel and the frame. And speaking of securing the front wheel, we do have a quick release on there, which makes it really easy if you do need to take the wheel off to change a flat tire, or you just want it to be more compact, you're putting it in your car or something like that. Just when you take the wheel off, watch the fenders that they don't get hit wherever you happen to be putting the bike. Other features, we've got the kickstand here that's integrated as well, which is really nice, and I mentioned the rack. And they've even gone and included a really fancy bungee cord here that you can basically lift off the back, and this here lets you slide it to adjust the tension. So if you've got a bigger package to put on there, you can loosen that off and put it on. And of course you could also use pannier bags or a trunk bag on there as well. And because of the smaller wheel size, you can really put a lot on there before you'd have problems getting your leg over the bike to get on the bike. So we go back up to the NuVinci display here in our cockpit. You can see we've got some really nice ergonomic locking grips. Again, it's just the little details that are important that Riese Muller doesn't cheap out on anything. These are all high quality, high-end components that are going to make your ride more enjoyable. On the Intuvia display, I should also mention that you do have a little graph here that's going to show you how much assistance the motor is providing, and there's also shift recommendations. So there's a plus or minus arrow that will show up to tell you if it thinks that you should shift to an easier or a harder setting to help maximize the battery, and that's all part of the Bosch system. And you can see we've got the Bosch Performance Line CX, which is the upgraded top-of-the-line Bosch system, so it gives you the most amount of torque for climbing hills, and it also gives you more power in the higher levels of assist. And you can see we have a nice little bash guard here to protect your belt. And really nice pedals, actually. A lot of times bike manufacturers will put, you know, really inexpensive pedals on, and these are actually quite nice pedals. I'm quite happy with them. With the Bosch system, if you're not familiar with the advantages of a mid-drive, because you're driving your belt here, that's actually giving you a mechanical advantage when you adjust your hub. It's like the transmission in a vehicle. When you make those adjustments to the gear, that affects the motor and helps you get up the hill easier. With a rear hub motor, that's only turning the wheel. And so basically, if you change your hub, change your gear, it doesn't affect the motor at all because it's still turning the wheel. With a mid-drive, you get that mechanical advantage. So hills become not only easier to climb, but they reduce the amount of battery that's required because it's much easier on your battery. Really, you can find out more about the Bosch system on our website. It's a fantastic system. The way I describe it is it's like it's reading your mind. It gives you the power that you need when you need it. You're not going to find yourself in a dangerous situation where you get too much power when you're trying to make a corner or something like that. It's always going to be appropriate for what you're doing. And that's a really nice feature about the Bosch system. So this overall is a fantastic bike. It's a lot of fun to ride. I definitely recommend, if you get the opportunity, come by and try it or have us bring it to you. We can also ship it to you. If you have questions about it, if there's something I missed in this video, feel free to give us a call, send me an email. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this or any of the other e-bikes that we carry. This, of course, is the Tinker from Riese and Muller.